Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our amazing journey into the deep of this language. Last time we talked about a cultural and a historical movement, which is migration to Manchuria. We have a Chinese phrase for that called 闯关东. 闯 is leaving your homeland and move to a further away place that involved with traveling on a horse. Horse doesn't literally mean a horse, it means far distance travel. And guan is this gatekeeping with this door lattice thing mechanism. It's gatekeeping, which in this context is our Great Wall. That's the ultimate gatekeeping of the whole country or land, having this big barrier on the north. And then here is simply the northeastern part, beyond, go beyond, meaning to the north and eastern part of that, which is the Manchuria, known as to the outside world. And then we have today another, I would say, a politically motivated, and it's also ideological conflicting, captured by this 东升西降. So it's probably one day become another historical phrase because it's kind of capture the moment in 2021, 2022 era when this ideological war between the East and West, which roughly about, if we want to classify what is East is communism, or beliefs about this government, the big government running things. This is the East. And then West is the ideology of free market, capitalism, and government and the individual, they have their own space. Government doesn't really interfere, get too much involved with individual lives. And so this is two parallel ideology, but of course there are different variations of each, right? But if we want to bucket the whole globe into this two camps, it's East and West. So now there is this decoupling process of US and China, and this is the context of when this phrase showed up. So East, 东升西降, okay, going up on the east side and going down on the west side. So that's what this is about. Let's unpack. So East, we talked about yesterday, that it's a tree, and with the sun, this block with horizontal line, the energy source means the sun. The sun is rising up, and you can still see it on the kind of not far above the horizon, because you can still see it behind the trees, right? So that's our East, sun rising moment, our East. And West is this bird returning to the nest moment. So this is apparently a bird nest, pretty cute structure. And then this is a simplified bird, or you can see it almost like a tree trunk, the bird nest kind of hanging on the tree. However you want to visualize it, it's a bird nest, and it's signifying when the birds are flocking back to its nest. That's the moment when it's sun setting down. So we cannot use the sun image again, because otherwise it's confusing. Like, how can you tell it's sunrise or sundown? So we're using sunrise as the East image, and we use birds returning to the nest as the moment of the West. That's the sun setting down moment. Okay, so now we got this direction and also ideology camp behind it. This East and West is a loaded word as a political word. And then we have 升 and 降. They are also opposing word, which is going up and going down, basically. So going up is rise, how it's a rise. Well, you can see probably this is visually a rise, but actually no. This 升 was unit of measurement. 10升为1斗. So 10 of this 升 character or unit of measurement as a volume is 1斗, is one big. So 1斗 is like this. So beyond this portion, the rest of them is this 斗 image. So it's a type of container to measure the volume of grains, because Chinese agriculture society. So before they can sell their harvest, their crops, so things are going to be measured in this container, and dough is one of this containers. So I guess that's kind of to show it's made by woven together some pretty stiff, I think it's fibers, pretty thick fibers, and that's kind of dough. That's one big dough, and you have 10 sheng filled up this dough. That's one dough. So 10 of the sheng make one dough. Okay, so this sheng, then we added this one upward going, it's rising going curve line to mean it's actually 10 of them, because this is our number 10, and the language creator decides to do the 10 this way. So that means it need to be cut into 10 pieces, and then that's our sheng, okay? And eventually simplified into that. So sheng was this measurement of volume, and somehow over the evolution of the language, it becomes the rising. That's unexplainable except for this line of this rising curve. That's the only thing that's relatable. Jiang, okay, so jiang, we have this left structure, which is kind of a cliff. It's too tall, it's unclimbable. But somebody do, like occasionally people do, can do the scaling. And actually, why is it jiang? Because we have this is a walking sign, and we have this long stroke on the outside going down. That means, okay, that means somebody's going backwards. So one leg is extended back. So these are two legs. This is a front leg, which is a lot shorter, and the back leg, which is a lot longer. So it's like one leg is reaching far behind. So this is backward walking. And this is unexplainable for me. I don't know what that is. I look at it as a kind of a tool. Imagine the rock climbers, they have special tools, right? They and hold it in space, and so that you can safely going down backwards, going from high ground to lower ground, back up by securing your position in there. That's how you can go kind of vertically downward. So this is kind of visual representation of somebody is actually climbing down from, because it's backward, climbing down from a tall place with these tools. So 东升西降, simply east rise and west fall. That's, I use a quotation mark because it came from the current president in China, that he verbalized this, maybe 2021, 2022, I don't exactly know. But in that statement, it was kind of telling the Chinese, 东升西降, like giving you the big historical context in this globe is when the East, which is our camp, the communism camp, we are rising, we're on the rise, we are more powerful, we're getting stronger, something like that. And then the West having all kinds of troubles and issues there, right? Super diversified, and they have, all kinds of movement. It looks really chaotic, and they are on the decline. They are falling. So there is this contrast of East and West. One is rise, one is going down. And of course, this is, some information war to prep whoever are your target audience, right? That it's the historical truth, but somebody on, of course, the West camp is showing data to show, oh, that's not really the numerically supported situation. So this is the GDP in trillions, and then all the West camp lumped together is kind of over time growing from 2000 to 2020, kind of like this big gap. It's the gapping is actually become bigger. So while both East and West are growing in their wealth in terms of GDP, while both of them are growing, you can see that the difference of the East and West is still pretty big, even if the East is pretty fast in its growing speed. You can see that this is the diagonal line shows the trend is kind of growing fast. So in that sense, East is going up, rising quicker. Probably that's the the second derivative of the speed. So that's probably true. But overall, all the countries stacking up together, and you can still see the gap is by absolute value is still a huge gap there if we have to divide the world into East and West camp. And that's the way to show R&D, research and development, investment. So this is kind of future, right? So you're investing in the future, in technology and all that, and the West is all lumped together, a much, much bigger column than the East camp. So like both are kind of competing to dominate, but the world is still running on these two ideologies parallel, like basically with kind of variations, right? And like we are at 2022, we're at this historical moment as if both of them are going to have a stronger voice and they are going to somewhat interact in between, right? So that's 东升西降. Cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day. See you another day.